So I'd like to welcome everybody back to another edition of Wolf Precision's online long-range shooting school. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about using your wind meter for more than what the average shooter will look at it for, or learn to use it as the tool that it was meant to be used for. So this is an important episode to talk about, and I think it's really important as we move forward and as you grow as a shooter that you learn that this is more than just a tool to read the wind. This is to teach you the wind. So the sun is cracking up over here in Somerset, Pennsylvania. This is our new range, a new training facility where I'm standing. Our building will be here in about a week. We're really excited. Lots of big changes going on here in our in-person classes. But I just want to give you a beautiful morning here in central Pennsylvania. The sun's coming up just at the crack of dawn. And I thought it was a great opportunity to sit here and talk a little bit about the wind meter. So over the years, especially when you start talking about people getting into long range shooting and wanting to learn the art, one of the big, I think, crutches, or one of the things that people get caught up on so much, is that they use the wind meter and these other devices as tools to give them information, but they fail to realize the value that they bring and really what they should be using them for to learn not to use them. And I know that sounds counterproductive, but let me explain. So over the years, especially as you grow as a shooter, there's going to be lots of situations where you're going to see different wind conditions. In a lot of these conditions, you should be able to, as a shooter, be able to make really good calls without having to pull out your wind meter. And that comes through learning to use the wind meter to read the environment so that you can read it without it. So for example, if you go on a hunting trip out west and you're sitting there and you're looking over a big valley, you should be reading the wind constantly, and your experience in the wind should be good enough to know that, hey, it looks like a 3 to 5 mile an hour wind coming from left to right. It looks like here's our conditions that we're going to be shooting in. It looks like here's the gust, or here's sort of a dead zone where the winds really aren't getting there. And what happens is, if you go to a match, or if you go to any type of outdoor event, you're going to see people pulling these out all the time, and sometimes doing some crazy stuff like, capturing directions and all these other things. But what happens is they're only using this to actually give them real-time data, but they're not using it as a tool it was meant to be, and that's to learn to read the wind without it. So let me explain. If you really want to get into and be a great wind caller, let me go a couple steps further with this. And this is why we wanted to talk about the Kestrel and using it in the field in part 2. So the first couple hints I want to give you is, we really recommend, and this is 2023, we recommend the Kestrel 3500. We want to get you up in the level of Kestrels to get density, altitude, and barometric pressure. And so you have to upgrade through the systems to get that. The second thing that we recommend is, we don't recommend getting it with a ballistics program. It's clunky, it's not very great interface to work with quickly in the field, and it's very easy to change settings and not be able to go back and find them quickly, or to inadvertently change something and not know what you've changed because it's not all in the forefront. And then the third thing, although it sounds cool to have Bluetooth in your wind meter, is do not get it with Bluetooth. This is my personal opinion now. The reason I say that is, if you Bluetooth this, it's going to real-time data, regardless of where it's laying at, to your dope in your phone if you're using your phone for that purpose. So if you leave this layout here and the sun starts beating on it, you're going to get really bad information as far as the temperature, as far as the barometric pressure. It's going to real-time this, and it does affect your dope or your drop at distance. So I really recommend that you not get those things. And if your phone or whatever you're using to get your dope asks, hey, do you want to use Bluetooth? Tell it no, no, and no. So now you've got that out of the way, and you want to become a great wind caller, and you want to learn how to do this. What I've seen at the years at the shooting school, and what I think plagues a lot of students, is they look at this, but this is the only way they know to get the wind. They just go out and their head is here, holding it up, holding it down. Their head is here, holding it up, holding it down. Their eyes are here. So what happens to shooters is, especially those that would really love to learn the art of making great wind calls, is your eyes can't be here. They have to be out there. And what I challenge you to do is you're going to use this to get measurements, but you want to use the environment to make a call before you pull this out. Challenge yourself. So when I was younger, I used to walk around with, there was a yellow version of this, but I had this in my pocket all the time. It was in my backpack all the time. And we would be out groundhog hunting or varmint hunting, and I would sit there and I'd feel the wind a little bit, just like we're feeling right now. And I would try to guess it. I would say, okay, I think this is 2 to 3 miles an hour, and it looks like it's going from this direction from here to there. Then I would pull my wind meter out to see how close I got it, right? And then I would do the same thing at the next, and I would do the same thing again, and I would do the same thing again. And what I'm doing is I'm using this as a pass or fail to really fine tune my senses and being able to visually see the wind and feel the wind and see what it's really doing. I'm not using this just to get the speed here. I want to use this to read the environment and then tell me, okay, did I get it right or wrong, or how close am I? How good am I getting? Because it's not uncommon for new shooters at all to overestimate